Hello and welcome to Resident Evil. And after that rather creepy intro of the body rising up, it looked like a kind of dirty, horrible mortuary, possibly in the mansion of Resident Evil. So this is a game developed by Capcom, or more specifically Capcom Production Studio 4. I guess there's probably Studio 1, 2, 3, maybe even 5 or more. I don't know. Capcom's a pretty big company. And this is in fact their own remake. So this is from 2002, their own remake of the 1996 original Resident Evil. And I think this was initially exclusively on the GameCube and then released, I think, on everything much later, and indeed now on the Nintendo Switch. So I have never played this original Resident Evil before. I played Resident Evil 2 all the way back in the late 90s on the N64, and yeah, I absolutely loved that game. I just played through that so much, and I was always curious about this one because they do a quick summary of the story of the manor, the house that they go to in this one, at the beginning of Resident Evil 2, and then there's some hints about Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine, the main characters of this, and what they've, gone through and all of that. But the actual story of this is a mystery, other than there's a mansion and, yeah, they find some zombies and dodgy things going on. And so, yeah, so this remake has pretty much improved graphics, greatly improved graphics, but still pre-rendered. And also I think there are some extra puzzles and some extra story bits that were maybe initially cut out of the original 1996 version. But this was directed by the same guy who did the original. I don't know if it's the same team, but the same lead guy. And yeah, I've been curious about this for years, and I have been wanting to play it for years but never seemed to get round to it. And so I'm actually pretty excited to see the original Resident Evil. And having just tested it a little bit and looked at it, it still looks pretty great to me, for a 2002 game, over 20 years old. And for years I didn't even know this remake existed. I think I probably felt, maybe could I go back and play the original? Maybe that doesn't hold up as well. But then I saw some screens of this. I was like, oh, that actually looks pretty good. And I think it's pretty faithful, apart from, I guess, the extra bits they've put in. But I'm going to take a look in the options, the language. Got a few different languages, got subtitles on. That's all good. Audio. Cool little graphic there. I think that's all fine. Brightness. Yeah, I've adjusted that a little bit to be a bit brighter. And controls. So there's quite a few different control options. So original will basically be the tank options, and then the alternative is with more, you move according to where you're viewing your character, but also I noticed with this type A control scheme, with the D-pad you can do tank controls, so you kind of get the best of both worlds with this. Though there is a weird thing, it's using the bumpers for aim and attack, and right trigger is map for some reason, which is a little odd for me, but there doesn't seem to be any other control scheme that changes that, where left trigger is aim and right trigger is fire. So yeah, I'm basically going to go with type A on this. And then with display, so this is an interesting one because it has this image here. You can go with wide or original. And so the image seems to be kind of stretched in the wide. Or is it? Oh no, it is actually, yeah, it is actually. I was thinking it was stretched and it was being a bit deceptive, but no, if you look there, you can see that the wide version is cropped. So you're missing the top and the bottom of the screen because this isn't, the backgrounds at least were not 3D. So no way to make them widescreen without completely redoing them and doing extra artwork for the edges. So I guess the solution they chose for that is to crop it down. But through testing, I really found you just lose a lot, and especially with the fixed camera angles, there's just a lot being lost from the top and bottom, and I would kind of like to experience it in its full glory. It's kind of a bit like nowadays you have the IMAX versions of films where they're often cropped from the top and bottom. Years ago, things used to be cropped from the sides until they started doing widescreen, and then widescreen just became standard, and then you have the letterbox. But now often you have these IMAX films where they're cropped to the top and bottom to be widescreen, and that's basically what's going on here, from the 4:3 aspect ratio to 16:9. So I'm going to go with original because I want to see everything. I want to see all the environments in all their glory. And in fact, what I'm going to do is show you exactly, because you can't really see so well in that image just there in the options, but show you how different it actually is. But before that, I'm just going to have a look around here. Okay, we've got some achievements. Okay, finish the game on very easy or tire. Okay, that's pretty cool. A few different things I can get here. Not in the mood to die. Okay, a gallery. Is this of images or sort of movies? Okay. And a manual, which is kind of cool. An old school style manual, I would guess. Yeah, 2002, there were still manuals in games. And so here we have some, yeah, instructions, as would have been in a physical booklet, I'm guessing. Yes, all pretty straightforward. Stuff about the controls. Okay, so you can use the right stick to do a 180 turn. That's pretty useful. Climb up and down ladders. Examine. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Okay. So that is our item screen. So yeah, limited slots for the items. Back like I remember it was in Resident Evil 2. And of course with the ink ribbons to save. Okay, the item chests. Gonna have to do a bit of item management. A map. I think that's going to be pretty indispensable. So yes, I'm predicting probably more puzzles in this than maybe later Resident Evil games. There are a fair amount, especially when you got to the police station section, of puzzles in Resident Evil 2. I remember that I enjoyed a lot, and so yeah, I'm mostly looking forward to the puzzles and just getting into the mystery of this game, which will probably mean I'm going to play it maybe on the easiest setting, just because I care most about the story. And I think with the nature of the slightly, even though it's slightly modernized, slight clunkiness to the controls, because you can't really move and shoot or anything. And also with the fixed camera, I feel like I might struggle and I don't want to keep dying. And then I've got to go back to the last save point, which could get pretty frustrating. So hopefully it won't be. I mean, with the puzzles should offer the challenge, and the exploration should be the challenge and the story. So I'm not too bothered about having challenging combat. And I kind of like to clear the rooms as well. So it'd be good for me to be able to just kill everything I meet, which is what I used to do in Resident Evil 2. But I'm going to take a look now and show you the difference between the aspect ratio choice in the opening section of the game, just to give an idea of how much it actually changes. Okay, so as you will have seen, there's quite a difference in just, yeah, a lot unfortunately being cropped out in order to play this game in widescreen. So for me, definitely want to uh, get that full view. Also just appreciate those pre-rendered backgrounds and the full artwork on display. And just, I think, actually in the widescreen version, it just feels a little bit too close in. And I feel like the framing of those shots, especially in these early Resident Evil games with the fixed camera angles and, very, selected camera shots to get the actual camera shot framed as it was meant to be framed is how I would like to enjoy the game. But that pretty much is all I have to say before I actually get into the game itself. I'm quite excited to see what mysteries there are in this manor house or mansion, I guess. What is the difference between a manor house and a mansion? Not quite sure. But yeah, this original of the Resident Evils, and I suppose maybe the one where the title seems the most apt, as we're in this one location, this residency, this house that is evil, I guess. And yeah, I'm genuinely very excited to see what all of this has to discover. And actually, that kind of adds it more to me, the discovering the full view of the 4:3 aspect ratio to really be able to enjoy um, the full view of the game, if that's the right way of expressing it. But yeah, I think that's enough of me rambling for now, and time to start actually playing the game and seeing how well I can survive. So, do come and join me when I begin for part 1, which will be in the next video. Take care and see you then.